Hi guys, this is Animedesu. Hanaoka Makoto stood near the windows watching the rain. He thought about how everyone has something unusual about them, but in his case he felt he might be stranger than most. The rain outside seemed to echo his sentiments. Makoto held a love letter from an unknown sender. The letter read to Makoto Senpai, "There is something I need to tell you. Please wait for me in the classroom after school." Reflecting on his experiences, he only had bad memories associated with such letters. He wondered if a normal girl would have been happy to receive a love letter. The wall clock showed 5 p.m. and Makoto thought about going home. Suddenly, rushed footsteps approached the classroom and the door opened hastily. Aoi Saki entered, out of breath. She apologized for being late, explaining that she had to stay longer for a test. Makoto responded that it was fine, though he internally questioned who she was. Makoto then remembered that Saki was also on the school board. She introduced herself as a first-year student and expressed that she had something important to discuss. Saki confessed her love for Makoto, admiring his gentle eyes, height, and slightly deep voice. After a moment of silence, Makoto asked if Saki liked girls. Saki explained that as a girl, confessing to another girl might be uncomfortable, but she had never felt this way about anyone before. She emphasized how special Makoto was to her and how she didn't want to have any regrets. Makoto then revealed that he was not the kind of girl Saki thought he was. He explained that he was actually an Otokonoko, a term for males with feminine appearances or cross-dressing. Saki was initially shocked, but then became ecstatic, realizing she could enjoy both the boy and girl versions of Makoto. However, Makoto apologized as Saki's enthusiastic expression turned to one of disappointment. She was stunned by the revelation. Makoto handed her a handkerchief to ease her, expressing that he hadn't expected such a reaction and apologized again. Saki asked if it was truly out of the question for them to be together. Makoto explained that, although he dressed like a girl, he had never fallen in love with anyone and doubted he would develop feelings for Saki. He felt compelled to reject her, and Saki wiped the blood from her nose with the handkerchief. She understood but vowed not to give up, determined to become the first person Makoto would fall in love with. She then noticed the blood-stained handkerchief and, upon offering to return it, was told she could keep it. The next day, Makoto was in the classroom while the teacher taught at the front. She played with a cute pencil, twirling it between her fingers. He was thinking about the previous day's events. He thought it would be best to keep his distance for her sake. At 9:50, during break time, Makoto was cleaning the blackboard when rushed footsteps approached again. Saki, out of breath, entered the classroom and asked for Makoto. Makoto was hiding behind the teacher's desk, and another student told Saki he wasn't there. Saki decided to come back later. This began a hide-and-chase game between Makoto and Saki. Makoto constantly avoided Saki, hiding whenever he saw her, causing her to search for him. During a PE class, Makoto jumped and dunked the basketball, thinking that if he kept avoiding Saki, she would eventually give up. After a team switch, Makoto rested near the faucet, overhearing two boys discussing how hard it was to play against him, because he looked like a girl. Makoto approached the faucet, asking if he could use it. The boys moved aside. As he washed his face, suddenly Saki appeared. She excitedly exclaimed that she had finally found him. Makoto, shocked, noted that they were in class. Makoto explained that while first years might not know it yet, all the second and third years knew he wore girls' clothes. He warned that if they saw Saki with him, they might think she was weird too. Saki, surprised, initially thought it was their secret alone. Makoto laughed and remarked that Saki was pretty weird. On another day, during break time, Saki met Makoto and handed him a cute pink handkerchief adorned with a whale picture. It was a thank you for the handkerchief he had given her the previous day. Makoto was stunned by the gesture and found the handkerchief adorable, though he hesitated to accept it. Suddenly, a strong wind blew the handkerchief away. Makoto watched as it flew out of reach. At first he wanted to catch it, but he remembered his mother, Makoto Hanaoka, opposing his attached to girly things. Then he just watches the handkerchief fly by. It landed on a tree branch and Makoto stood still. Saki, however, did not hesitate. She struggled to climb the tree and retrieve the handkerchief. Makoto was surprised by her determination. After grabbing the handkerchief, Saki descended and handed it back to Makoto. She asked if he liked it. Makoto expressed his love for it, stating he would treasure it. Saki was thrilled that he liked the handkerchief so much. Makoto held the handkerchief dearly, looking at it with glittering eyes. Saki silently wished to be as cherished as the handkerchief. In the distance, Ryuji Taiga, a male student, hid behind a tree, observing the interaction and wondering who Saki was. The next day, Ryuji Taiga stopped Saki in the school alley. He attempted to intimidate her by demanding to know her intentions, but his growling stomach makes him look like begging instead of threatening. Saki remained silent, not out of fear, but because she didn't know who Ryuji was. Suddenly, Makoto rushed towards them. He questioned Ryuji's actions. As Makoto appears, Saki turns her attention to him. Saki looked at Makoto with admiration. Ryuji was annoyed being ignored by Saki. He insisted he wasn't finished talking to her. Makoto tried to calm Ryuji, defending Saki by stating she wasn't like what Ryuji suspected. As Saki watched Makoto and Ryuji closeness, she got misunderstanding. She thought Makoto and Ryuji was a couple. Makoto quickly denied. He clarified that they were just childhood friends. Saki was relieved that it was just childhood friends. Ryuji accused Saki of being a lowly kohai stalking Makoto. He claimed he didn't trust her, questioning her love for Makoto despite knowing he wore girls' clothes. He suggested she might be hiding something. Saki tried to deny it, but Makoto interrupted, apologizing to her and promising to tell Ryuji. Saki hesitantly accepted the apology. Both Ryuji and Makoto walked away, leaving Saki behind. Ryuji insisted that Saki was up to something. Makoto defended her, saying she wasn't like that. Ryuji questioned how Makoto could be so sure if he didn't know her well. Makoto recalled Saki's enthusiastic determination and felt confident in her sincerity. But Ryuji remained suspicious that Saki was hiding something. On another day, Ryuji saw Saki from a distance. He noticed that she was hiding something in her pocket. When Saki saw Ryuji watching her, she ran away. Ryuji's thoughts raced, wondering what Saki was hiding. He rushed to Makoto's class and insisted Makoto come with him to the school alley. Ryuji confronted Saki in the school alley, demanding to see what she had in her pocket. Saki looked flustered and tried to cover it with her hands. Ryuji, suspicious, pressured Saki to reveal what she was hiding. He accused her of being deceitful and grabbed the concealed item from her pocket. Makoto tried to calm Ryuji down. Ryuji was shocked to find that the item was a handkerchief. Makoto recognizes it as the handkerchief he gave Saki not long ago. Saki was crying. She was upset that someone other than Makoto had touched the handkerchief. Ryuji apologized and assured her that if she wasn't a bad person, he was satisfied. As Makoto and Ryuji left, something fell from Ryuji's pocket. Saki picked it up and found it was a student ID with Makoto's picture on it. Ryuji quickly took back the ID and warned Saki not to tell Makoto about it. Saki smirked, realizing she could use this as leverage, and asked Ryuji to let her keep the handkerchief. Ryuji reluctantly agreed, telling her to wait until tomorrow. The next day, Saki met with Ryuji. Her eyes glittered as she looked at 3 photos of Makoto as a child. She thought of Makoto as an angel and felt thrilled about her growing collection. Ryuji hoped this gesture would settle things between them. Saki's enthusiasm didn't wane, and she commented on Ryuji's feelings for Makoto. Ryuji defensively denied having a crush on Makoto, insisting he only kept the photos because they were good pictures. Saki teased him, but Ryuji remained adamant. Makoto passed by without noticing them. Saki was so excited to see Makoto and she almost called out to him. Ryuji quickly intervened, stopping her from drawing attention. Saki was upset Ryuji getting in her way. Ryuji explained that Makoto dressed in girls' clothes not to stand out but because he liked it. He mentioned that if Saki talked to him while many people were around, Makoto would worry that people might think she was weird too. Saki understood what Ryuji meant. She acknowledged that talking to Makoto in front of many people could cause unnecessary concern for both him and herself. Saki declared Ryuji her master in a playful manner, having an epiphany about his extensive knowledge of Makoto. Ryuji, though annoyed, decided to cooperate. When Saki asked for a good time to talk to Makoto, Ryuji suggested lunch after some thought. Saki listened with enthusiasm, eager to learn more about how Makoto and Ryuji became friends. Initially, Ryuji gestured that he wouldn't share the story but ended up telling her anyway. It happened back in kindergarten. For some reason, Ryuji tried to make Makoto cry every day, but Makoto never shed a tear. One time, while playing hide-and-seek, Ryuji found a hiding place that was hard to find. However, he couldn't get out of his spot and was scared, crying for help. Makoto eventually found him, crying tears of relief and happiness. Since then, they had been best friends. Ryuji proudly stated that nobody understood Makoto like he did. When people messed with Makoto for the way he looked, it really pissed him off. In class, Makoto sat at her chair, surrounded by a cute notebook, a pink pencil, and a handkerchief given by Saki. He couldn't help but think about Saki, noting that she seemed friendly with Ryuji and wondering what she saw in him. The teacher stopped writing on the blackboard and realized they had forgotten to bring the materials for the lesson. The teacher asked the boy on duty to go get them, and Makoto immediately stood up, volunteering for the task. The teacher seemed surprised and slightly uneasy. Outside, Saki was in her PE class. She spotted Makoto standing near the window and shouted loudly, asking him to go on a date with her. Makoto looked at her from the class, thinking that Saki wasn't a bad person, just a little strange, and totally different from him. Saki's teacher reprimanded her for shouting during class, but Saki dismissed it lightly, wanting to apply her energy elsewhere. Makoto, feeling a new determination after Saki's outburst, told the teacher he would go get the materials. After shouting to Makoto, Saki continued her activities in PE class. She remembered Ryuji's advice about not talking to Makoto in a crowd. In her thoughts, she resolved to apologize later for not following his advice. While walking on the stairs and carrying lesson materials, Makoto saw the bright sunlight streaming through the window. The sunlight reminded him of Saki's cheerful call earlier. He quietly remarked to himself how bright it was. After school, Makoto and Ryuji parted ways, exchanging quick farewells. Makoto didn't go home straight away. Instead, he stopped at the school warehouse. He opened the warehouse door with the key he brought and stepped inside, closing the door behind him. Inside, Makoto took off the girl's school uniform and changed into a boy's school uniform. He removed his wig while looking in the mirror, quietly bidding farewell to his reflection. Makoto then carefully stored his girl's school uniform in the cupboard, whispering a soft goodnight. Makoto Hanaoka was having lunch on the school rooftop with Ryuji Taiga. He wore a female school uniform with a long blonde wig. Ryuji mentioned a loud commotion from the school quad, referring to Saki Aoi's enthusiastic entrance. True to her nature, Saki appeared energetically, opening the rooftop door with excitement. Saki, seeing the two, felt slighted for not being invited and eagerly joined them. Both Makoto and Ryuji were silent for a moment, impressed by Saki's ability to find the secluded spot. Saki admired Makoto, internally debating if she could speak to him now, while Ryuji had his own thoughts about her presence. Makoto, with chopsticks in his mouth, caught Saki's awestruck gaze. She found his charm dazzling and remarked on how good he looked with the chopsticks. Makoto questioned if it was a compliment, while Ryuji internally labeled her a pervert. Saki then mentioned the approaching summer break, expressing her sadness at not being able to see Makoto. She also suggested they exchange line usernames, to which both Ryuji and Makoto agreed. Saki, with a glittering face, eagerly asked for Makoto's line username. After some hesitation and encouragement from Ryuji, Makoto agreed. Saki quickly added them both on the Line app and in her excitement, asked if she could message Makoto every few hours. Makoto negotiated it down to every 3 days, to which Saki enthusiastically agreed, planning to set a timer. Makoto mentioned needing to go to the staff room, and as he prepared to leave, Saki offered him her chopsticks along with her lunchbox. Confused but obliging, Makoto took her chopsticks, and Saki opened her mouth expectantly. Realizing what she wanted, Makoto fed her a bite, and while Saki was lost in her enjoyment, Makoto made his escape. Ryuji watched the scene unfold, feeling a mix of emotions, while Saki asked if he was jealous, to which he angrily denied. Saki then teased him about helping her win over Makoto, though she quickly retracted it, stating she would do it on her own. Ryuji, frustrated, argued about the nature of his feelings for Makoto and the societal norms surrounding love. Later, in the school hall, the school president announced the end of the first semester and the beginning of summer break. In the locker room, Saki approached Makoto, excited about walking home together on the last day of the semester. Makoto, however, declined, explaining he had other plans, leaving Saki heartbroken. Ryuji, noticing Saki's sadness, approached her with a notebook he had borrowed from Makoto, asking her to return it to his house. Saki's mood brightened, and she looked at Ryuji with grateful eyes, calling him master. Makoto arrived home, wearing his normal male school uniform. His mother, Mika Hanaoka, was cooking in the kitchen. He greeted her and took one of the freshly cooked fritters. Mika playfully admonished him for snacking, but allowed it, pleased when he behaved in a masculine way. Offering to help, Makoto was told that cooking wasn't a job for boys. They ate dinner together, and Makoto reflected on how he could be himself at school, but felt the need to conform to his mother's expectations at home. After the meal, he went to his room and checked his school bag, realizing he had forgotten his notebook. Instead, he found a cute pink handkerchief. Worried that his mother might find it, he hid it under his bed, rationalizing that hiding things was something boys did. Returning to the living room, Makoto sat on the sofa in a feminine manner before correcting himself. When the doorbell rang, Mika asked him to answer it. To his surprise, it was Saki, who nervously explained that Ryuji had asked her to return his notebook. Mika noticed Saki and, with excitement, welcomed her warmly, inviting her in. Both Makoto and Saki were taken aback by her enthusiasm. Mika immediately assumed they were dating, prompting Saki to spit out her tea in surprise and clarify that her feelings were unrequited, much to Makoto's embarrassment. Mika, however, encouraged Saki to keep trying. Mika inquired about Makoto's behavior at school, which Saki assured her was fine. Mika started sharing embarrassing stories from Makoto's middle school days, prompting him to quickly offer to walk Saki home. Realizing the time, Mika apologized for keeping Saki so late, who graciously thanked her for the hospitality. On their way to Saki's home, Makoto and Saki paused in the park. Makoto handed Saki a can of refresher, thanking her for returning his notebook. Saki accepted it gracefully but apologized for staying so long. Makoto reassured her, apologizing himself for his mother's behavior. As he drank his refresher, Saki observed him closely, noting how he drank in a boyish manner. She commented on his appearance, confirming that she did see him as a boy, despite her initial confusion. Makoto explained that he kept his cross-dressing a secret from his mother and presented himself as a regular boy at home, expressing gratitude that Saki hadn't revealed anything. Saki, worried she might have said something wrong, was relieved when Makoto assured her she hadn't. He apologized for leaving school quickly, feeling awkward switching between his male and female personas. Saki expressed her admiration for both sides of him, holding on to her refresher without drinking it. When Makoto noticed, he asked if she was going to drink it, but she found it too precious to consume. Suddenly, Ryuji appeared, having been unable to reach them online, and decided to find them in person. He looked at Saki, making sure she had completed her task, before revealing the fireworks he brought along. The three of them lit the fireworks, playing until they had only one left. As they gathered to light the last one, Saki asked if they could meet outside of school again. Ryuji reassured her that they could, as long as he was there too. Makoto agreed enthusiastically, cementing their friendship and future plans. On July 29th, Saki's calendar was marked with a cute reminder for her 2 p.m. pool time with Senpai. At the pool, Saki wore a cute swimsuit, while Ryuji sported shorts, and Makoto wore shorts and a jacket, appearing like a typical boy. However, Saki still wasn't accustomed to seeing Makoto in his boyish attire. When she noticed his unzipped jacket, she asked him to zip it up, which he did, and Ryuji, sweating nervously, watched the interaction. The three of them played pool ball, with Saki enthusiastically passing the ball to Makoto, who then passed it to Ryuji. Distracted by Makoto's jacket, Ryuji missed the ball. Apologizing, Makoto suggested that he zip up his jacket to avoid drawing the attention of any perverts, to which Saki quickly responded. On August 23rd, Saki's calendar highlighted her vacation day. After her trip, she brought presents for Ryuji and Makoto, meeting them at a fast food restaurant. Saki proudly announced her trip to the Galapagos Islands, showing off her tan. She gave Makoto a cute penguin doll and Ryuji a t-shirt with a turtle and the phrase Sugoku Hayai, meaning moving so fast. As they ate, they lamented the quick end of summer break. Excitement filled the air as they discussed the upcoming school founding party, an annual event with a dress code and fancy food. Saki drooled at the thought of the food, while Makoto recalled missing the previous year's party due to overexcitement and poor health. This year, Makoto was determined to attend, excitedly planning to wear a dress, a rare occurrence outside of his school cross-dressing. Saki suggested they go shopping for a dress together, while Makoto considered ordering online to avoid being seen by his mother's friends. Ryuji reassured him that they could shop in Harajuku, promising to intervene if necessary. Saki's enthusiasm and mention of visiting stores with cute stuff convinced Makoto to agree to the shopping trip. Later, Makoto went alone to a stationery store, shyly purchasing a cute bear doll with a pink package, claiming it was a gift. At home, he placed the bear and the penguin together, anticipating adding more cute items after their shopping trip. That night, the trio chatted online, arranging to meet at the station the next day. As Makoto typed, his little sister observed him suspiciously from his room door, noting how much fun he seemed to be having. Makoto waited for his friends at Harajuku Station, dressed in a girly outfit. He felt uncertain about his appearance, worried he might still look like a boy. As he pondered this, a salesman approached him, offering tea and compliments, which made Makoto incredibly happy. Realizing he was passing as a girl filled him with joy. Spotting Ryuji and Saki, Makoto ran toward them, ignoring the persistent salesman. He greeted them cheerfully, expressing his excitement for the day ahead. Both Ryuji and Saki were struck by Makoto's appearance, seeing glittering auras around him in their minds. Inside the store, Makoto was ecstatic at the sight of so many girly outfits, exclaiming that he might just die of happiness. Saki playfully reminded him to stay alive for her sake. Meanwhile, Ryuji looked at the outfits with a straight expression, unable to see any difference between them. Saki and Makoto quickly picked out clothes to try on, leaving Ryuji to wait outside the changing rooms. Makoto, looking at the dress he chose, felt nervous but excited. After putting it on, he stepped out hesitantly. Saki, who had emerged earlier in an oversized dress, admired Makoto's appearance, calling him lovely. Ryuji, struggling to remind himself that Makoto was a guy, watched silently. Next, they visited an ice cream store with cute-shaped treats. Makoto, overwhelmed by the adorableness, asked Ryuji which one he would pick. Ryuji chose a bird-shaped ice cream, while Saki and Makoto debated over the cuteness of all the options. In a shoe store, Makoto tried on high heels despite his shivering feet. He ultimately decided on flats, as did Saki. However, as he sat down, he reconsidered, feeling a desire to tough it out with the high heels he'd always wanted to wear. Then they stop at a restaurant with cute-shaped dishes. Makoto was so moved by the cuteness that he felt he might cry, unable to bring himself to eat the food. Saki, on the other hand, had no such reservations, diving into her meal, and Ryuji joined her. The day was filled with joy and moments of self-discovery for Makoto, supported by his friends' admiration and encouragement. Makoto's mother, Mika, looked around his room, noting its uncharacteristic messiness. She decided to clean it up, thinking it was unlike her son to leave it so untidy. Meanwhile, Makoto, Saki, and Ryuji sat together, relaxing after their fun-filled day. They talked about how much they'd walked and how quickly time had flown by. Makoto expressed his joy, wishing he'd ventured out as a girl much sooner. Saki eagerly suggested they do it again, and both Ryuji and Makoto agreed enthusiastically. As the day drew to a close, they made their way home. At Nakamura Station, Saki was the first to part ways, bidding them farewell until the next day. Ryuji and Makoto also said their goodbyes, and Makoto decided to drop off his things at school before heading home. When Makoto finally arrived home, he felt a mix of contentment and fatigue from the day's adventures. He called out to his mother, noticing the late hour. Entering the house, he found Mika staring at a cute handkerchief on the table, the very one he had hidden under his bed. Mika's expression was a mixture of curiosity and concern as she asked Makoto about the handkerchief. Makoto felt a wave of anxiety, realizing that his secret might be on the verge of being uncovered. This is the end of Senpai as an Otokonoko episode 2. Thank you so much for staying on this channel and watching our videos. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can keep you updated with our latest content. See you in the next video.